Hey everybody, welcome to the installation series that I talked about on my last episode. Thank you for joining me. Obviously we are recorded because we are going to be covering some things. We're not going to do it live on the air because, hey, let's face it, 8 o'clock at night, sometimes it's still light out there and stuff, but we want to be able to kind of bring it to you in a more condensed fashion. So as I talked about in an installation video, or saying we're going to do the installation series, I wanted to talk about digging into installing things into vehicles. This is a really big important thing, as I stressed in that last kind of preview video. And the reason I stress it is because lots of times vehicles don't have space, or you have to consider things when you're doing vehicle installation. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of start and hit on a few key points. And the first part we're going to start with is antenna installation, which is what I have here right now. I am installing into a 2022 Ram 1500, alrighty? And the reason I'm doing this one is because A, it's my vehicle, but two, more importantly, is because it's nice enough that the Ram series happens to have these no-hole drill antenna mounts on there. Now, this is important, and this is very important when you're thinking about antennas, because obviously I like to use this one. Now, I want to stress, I don't work for Comet, I don't endorse it, none of their products was sent to me or anything like that. Full disclosure, I purchased the antenna on my own, but this is a Comet CA2X4SR NMO mount. Alrighty, the NMO mount. Now the reason I like this is because this is broadband for VHF and UHF, which allows me to do basically the 136 to about 168 megahertz range, as well as about the 430 all the way up to the 470 range. So with this one antenna, I can get amateur radio, I can get MURS, I can get public safety, I can get business on the VHF side, I can get amateur, I can get the LMR business, even some public safety on the UHF side. That's why I like this antenna. But as you can see, the whole point of antenna installation is this antenna is pretty tall here, alrighty? My truck roof is pretty tall, obviously, on its own, and it may not fit into some parking garages, or it may not fit even to your own home garage. So that's where we have to take a look at installation. Now, another thing to think about, what we want to be concerned about, is how can we install an antenna that's not on the roof, but that is tall and suits our needs, really, right? That's where we're going to focus on this installation today, and we're going to once again talking about these no holes drill mount. It's really great because they actually will ground out to the frame, as you'll see over there, and it's just a simple piece of metal here. It's got a little flexibility on there, so in case the antenna does get hit or in case something happens on there. And then you also have to give the antenna the coaxial standard RG58 that we all need and we have to use and everything like that. But this is a lifesaver. More so lifesavers because in order to properly mount an antenna, you need metal, right? Well, guess what? Hear this? This is aluminum based. This is not metal. If you try putting a magnet mount on here, it's not going to stick. This, here's the difference. This is actually metal. But here's the issue we run into. How are we going to be able to mount something on there? If we can't or don't want to drill holes into the roof, which I don't. I don't like drilling holes into vehicles. I hate drilling holes. Why? Each time you drill a hole, I talked to one time an installation mechanic, that kind of thing like that. He said easily when you drill a hole, especially into the roof, you're killing the depreciation. You're killing that vehicle's value by at least $2,000. Because what happens if you drill that hole and it doesn't go right, or the saw does, or jagged edges, and then the antenna mount leaks around there, then you got leaking into the cab. Or when you're done, now you got to seal up that hole. Not you'll see with these no holes drill mount. Now I know numerous different amateur radio supply vendors go ahead and do it, and I say amateur supply vendors because you know what? There's a lot of them that are out there, and there's a lot that can get the equipment quicker for you than if you had to go with different companies. However, you may have accounts with like say Tesco or Tally or something like that on there where you still may be able to get this, or you can order from the manufacturer direct. We're not going to go into that too much because guess what? Every single vehicle is going to be different. Some vehicles will not have this option. Other vehicles will have, like I'm lucky enough, I have not only a right side or a passenger side, but I also have a driver's left side on there. So let's stop chatting. Let's stop blabbling. Let's actually go over to the left side of the truck and see how we start the install of a no holes drilled mount NMO antenna. All right, so let's now dig into the install here. So we showed you what the end product is going to look like. Let's dig in on how we're going to get into it and how we're going to do it. So first of all, let's talk about the actual mount. So a no hole drill mount is, in essence, just what this is: no holes drilled, meaning we don't have to drill anything into the vehicle. And I, once again, wholeheartedly love that. You will find that anything. And when we get into the install of the mounting of inside the vehicle here, you're going to see how easy that actually is. But right now for the antenna, this is the no holes drill mount. And if you notice, it's going to use the existing body screw, which is right here. Okay, so this is going to, we're going to unscrew that screw, we're going to drop it in right here, and boom, it's going to be good to go. Now, with saying no holes drill mount, they do give you the option to have 2 screws right here. That is nice because, once again, if we're not dealing with a metal frame here, let's say this body is aluminum, also too, this where we're mounting it is aluminum. If it's not going to go into metal, then what you can do is you can actually take and put either like a self-tapper screw into here, or you could put a screw through here with the nut, and then you can attach a ground wire which can go to the grounding of the actual frame and system on there. So that's why it gives you a couple options on there. But let's talk about what kind of mount I'm using. Some people may be familiar with this and other people may not. This is what we call the NMO mount, alrighty? Very classical. If you take a look at it, people say, oh, the NMO mount is a Motorola-based mount. Yeah, a lot of Motorola antennas are NMO mounts. There are sometimes what they call the S1E37 or the female UHF, which we all know what a female UHF S1E37 connector looks like. Well, sometimes they make connectors like that. They make the NMO mount. They make a couple of different other varieties of connectors and stuff. It's all kind of personal preference. NMO is kind of sort of a de facto standard. And I say de facto standard because most of the times when you're ordering public safety grade antennas or antennas that are going to cover, let's say, the 150s to 160s or the 450s to the 470s, you're going to find most of them have the NMO mount. You're going to be hard-pressed luck to be able to find one that is actual an S1E39 type connector on there, or female UHF. So that's why I like to use the NMO mounts. When it comes to amateur's kind of split now. There's kind of that opening of concepts on there saying, oh yeah, you know, an S1E39 works, or then the NMO mount works. Example, the common antenna I have comes in 2 varieties. It actually comes in the NMO male mount on there, and it actually comes in a PL259 or UHF type mount on there. But for today, we're going to be using the NMO mount. Now, what is special about the NMO mount? Well, this is a 3/4 inch hole NMO mount. What you'll see here is that the center part, which is the kind of copperish looking part, and then the silver circle around that, you can kind of see there's a little spacer there, kind of like an insulator on there. That is going to actually fit through with your antenna cable through the hole that you would drill, or in this case, if I was to mount it, and put it through there. Then you're going to take the silver outer ring, and what you're going to do is you're going to screw it over it. So what you're doing is, once you insert it through the hole, you see how there's like 2 tabs there, kind of like almost like 2 teeth? Well, in that case, what you do is you kind of angle it in, and when you're screwing this outer ring on there, it's going to pull the center part up, and it's going to dig the teeth into there. Now, yes, I did use these before on my 2019 Ram mount, so in that case, it already was pre-installed. But I wanted to pre-install because when I start to get in here, it's going to be difficult to kind of install it on here, because you have to slide it through the hole, and then where these 2 little holes are right on there, that's where you can take a tool or needle nose plier, hold it while you take an adjustable wrench, and then you kind of lock it down. But that's what I'm going to go ahead and do here. Now, on my Ram here, this bolt we're using is a 10mm socket. I have multiple 10mm sockets, so guys, don't worry about it. But what we're simply going to do here is I'm going to take off this bolt, and once we take off this bolt here, it's very simple. We see the mount, it kind of recessed down in there. It actually goes into metal, so we know it's going to be good. You can actually see where this bolt is going to mount, and we're simply going to take and screw this mount right into place here. Now I'm going to take this to make it a little quicker here. I'm just going to kind of hand tighten it, and the reason I'm only going to hand tighten is a couple things here. So as you see, there's kind of this kind of follows the curvature of the vehicle here. Now what you want to do is that this mount does have the ability to move back and forth for adjustment on there. Alrighty, I found with this, as well as on that side of that vehicle mount on there, I kind of want to go it all the way out, because that's going to give me the most ability, because we're going to have to be careful when this closes down that this is going to be sitting in that middle track right there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tighten it down by hand. Now I'm going to take my socket and I'm going to tighten it back up. And the best part is it's not going to go ahead and spin on me or anything like that, because it's designed to fit right into there. And guess what? Now my mount is installed. That quick, that easy. I didn't need a drill. I didn't need to drill holes. I didn't need to do anything like that. But hey, John, you said, what about the coax? Well, that's a good question on there. The coax is going to be run basically how people want to run it. Different ways to do it. Some people may try to go through the firewall, where I'll be honest with you, so many electronics on these new vehicles, they actually do allow a little bit of a chaseway to come down into this area here. But running coax is up to that individual person. Now I'm going to go ahead and screw, well actually let me show you real quick too. Here's what the bottom of the NMO mount, it's circular, and then it's got that little spring right in the center there, that pin in the center. But now here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to screw on my antenna, and I'll run the coax in a little bit, and now I can go ahead and do the last minute adjustment on here. So I'm going to close this here, not all the way, but I want to check to make sure that that isn't going to hit it. And as you can see, there's actually enough of a gap when I close the hood all the way that there will be there. And guess what, folks? Now we have our antenna installed. Alrighty, so now we move on to the next important part of an installation, which is actually finding out where we can mount things in the vehicle. So as you see here, you know what? I got this dash mount thing. Yeah, that's great. But look at this. I mean, it's expanding. It doesn't hold. It's not going to hold the radio. It's going to barely hold the cell phone. I need something more than that. So we're just going to throw that. We got rid of that. That's gone now. What I found doing some research here is bullet point mounting solutions. Now, want to stress, I am not an agent. I don't sell for them. Nothing with bullet point mounting solutions. They did not send me their product. I purchased this product on my own, and I'm doing it as educational only. I'm receiving no compensation from them at the time of making this video here. So here's what we're going to talk about. With bullet point mounting solutions, I'll leave it right there. Google them on there, bullet point mounting solutions. Kind of got to do the whole thing. I think it's bullet point mountingsolutions.com or something along the line, but they have something for this thing right here. This area, okay, nice little cubby hole, you know, here we could throw, here's my wife's sunglasses, she's always leaving in the car there, and oh, you know what, I can, what else do I got here? Well, I got, you know, hey, everybody's got a wrench or something. That's great, but it's really a dead space on there, okay? What can we do? Well, here's what it is. So first of all, bullet point is sort of along the lines of like the antennas, where it's a no holes drill mount solution. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out this little cover. And they're hard to get out, but you want to save this in case maybe you get rid of it or whatever. But in here, there's 2 screws. Now, with the bullet point mounting solution here, there's a bracket specifically designed for my truck. Here it is right here. Nice thing about it is they give you the screws and the stuff that you need for mounting it, which is totally cool. But here's what's going to happen. This is going to fit in there and use those existing screws just like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mount these amps compatible 20 millimeter ball phone holders, device holders, and everything like that on there. But let's first, before we even get to this point of mounting these on there, let's dig in to doing the installation. So the first thing that we got to do with the installation is, you see, it's actually a 2-frame system. So there's 4 screws here that we're going to have to undo, and there's going to be the 2 screw holes we're going to use for existing mounts, as well as going ahead and taking this double-sided foam tape on there. So let's go ahead and watch me here unscrew. And they give you, like I said, the little, this came with it. This is not something extra that I bought. So I'm just going to go off to the side here so I don't lose them. But I'm going to just quickly unscrew these. You know, kind of another thought too, just for people that always go ahead and say, like, you know, oh, you know, when you're mounting these things or tightening screws or something like that, you know, especially in these kind of situations, do not use an electric screwdriver, because you can over tighten them. You can strip the heads out, hand tighten that what they need to be. If you need to have some sort of more tightened aspect of things, well, then maybe you might have to use some sort of a Torx or something like that on there, but don't want to over tighten. So plate comes off here. So we're just going to set that off to the side. here's where we're at right now. So this is once again going to fit right into their center there. We have easy access to those mounted screws there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I'm going to undo the screws inside the vehicle here. And once again, these are the screws that actually are in the dash here. So look at that. There's the one screw. I'm just going to set it right there. And another screw. Now, if you are sometimes klutzy like me, a good idea is to go get a small cup of some sort. And you can set those screws off to the side, or something that might be magnetic, and you can do it from there. That way they hold them in there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of find out where those screw holes are going to line up in there. Once I go ahead and get the screw holes kind of mounted there, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take off this double-sided tape. Now, I already cleaned the inside on there, so they tell you to clean the inside on there, and this is a skill in and of itself, people. And you know what? If you have a tweezers in your shack or tweezers in your installation toolkit, my toolkit does have a pair of tweezers on there. Why? Because guess what? It's at times like these where you need kind of a little tweezer set to be able to go ahead and do that. So now I'm going to look in here. I'm going to see where these two holes kind of line up on there. And we're going to gently kind of line it up there and put those screws back in so I know where I need to mount it back in there. And of course the screwdriver is slightly magnetized, so that adds a little difficulty to something. But I'm just going to give it a little twirl to get it going in there. Same thing with this one here. I'm going to put it in here, get that screw in there, give it a little twirl. And now what I'm doing is trying to get it set in the hole. I know there's a joke in finding the hole somewhere in there. We're not going to do that. This is a kid show. All right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to set it in there nice and tight. We're going to give it a nice screw down right here. And we're going to come back over here to this side. We're going to give that a nice screw down there. Once again, we're tightening it, especially in this case, because while these have anchor points and holes on there, we don't want to strip it. Now, look at that. We got that base plate mounted. Let me go ahead, and I'm not going to waste the time watching the video here, but let me attach the actual mounts to this, and we'll be right back. Okay, so now we're back. I have two of the mounts that are on there right now, but I'm going to kind of go through there. So this is the bracket that we pulled off of here. They actually come in two style mounts you can get. You can get this is the standard AMPS mount. Now this has got a foam rubber plate on there, which I think adds some great durability when you actually put it on there. But if you didn't want to, you can also go with this two hole style mount. Now I got two of the two hole style mounts here because I'm going to kind of show you here. Here's one of the 7-centimeter arms that when we'll attach to it, it will hang over and you'll see what it is. But the reason I got this is because some different mounting solutions I'm going to use for some radio brackets, which would work better with two than actually doing the four here. So let me show you how easy it is to actually install these. So first of all, you're going to line it up to how you want it on there. And I'm kind of a little bit of an OCD guy, so I like it, you know, sitting right there. This is the 3 mount. They do make an actual 2 mount, which has 2 permanently mounted on there. And then they actually have a 1 ball mount. But I figured, you know what? 3 is better than 1. So I'm going to go and just kind of off to the side here, which you'll kind of see just so I have a little more working room. I'm going to put the screw through there. And then they have these locking, kind of nylon locking washers on there. So I'm just going to kind of put them through here real quick. And that just kind of shows you how easy it is. So if I ever want to, let's say, hey, it gets too crowded for the 3, and I say, you know what, I need to upgrade. I need to move things around. Then guess what? I can basically take one of these off. And as you see with the holes here, I can slide it. I can move it around. Even if I wanted to, I could put a diagonal one in there, as you can see on there. So there's a couple different options that you have for doing this mounting with this system. And that's what I liked about the bullet point mounting solutions here, is the versatility that it has within it. This is key to me, because I don't want to be locked into something, because I'll be honest with you, what might work for me today may not work for me tomorrow. And I don't know about anybody else, but to me that's big, because things change. You know, in the life of a vehicle, the way radio technology is, man, it easily, what we have today can be changed tomorrow. So with that, here's the neat part. They give you a little wrench with this here, like a little tire iron. And then these are the loose ones over here. Whoop, let me flip it around here. I simply put that right on there for you. And then I'm going to take the screwdriver that they give with it, and I'm going to tighten it down nice and tight. Now I do a cross tighten on anything, just like kind of with tires when you got these kind of things on there. You just kind of do a cross tight like that. I'm going to go back over to this one here. There, and then this last one is right in the corner here. I'm going to give it to there. And now I have my 3, and I'm going to mount it, return to the plate, and mount it right there. And now you're going to see how this thing is really going to start to come alive. It's really going to be, I mean, like I said, it's going to be, wow, John, this is a really cool mounting idea or solution. And it is. It really is. I got to give it to the once again, the guys and gals at Bullet Point on there, and saying, hey, you guys came up with a great design on there. So I got that one screwed down there. Gonna take this one, screw it in this corner here real quick. I'm gonna do one more on the corner back here. And once again, they give you 4 screws. Use all 4 screws. There's a reason. I know some people, when they come to mounting things, are like, I don't need those extra screws, even though there's screw holes that they need to go into. It's because guess what? You need those mounting brackets. Alrighty. So as you see, that's in there. That's pretty tight on there. Now, this is how the Bullet Point mounting solution really comes into play here. Now what I can do is you can get different length arms from them. These are standard 20 millimeter ball mounts on there. But now, watch what I can do. I can go ahead, screw this on there. Whoop. Put the screw back in there. And now what I can do is with this mounting solution, look at that. I can hang it here. And now I can have something point out to me over here. If I have a different one, I can move there. I can move whatever I need to do. So now what this allows me to do is guess what I'm going to be able to do? I'm going to be able to take and I'm going to be able to mount a control head for my radio on here, and then be able to take, and now that I got it mounted, now I have it permanently mounted there. No worries, no concerns, no nothing like that. They make smaller mounts, so if you have a dash cam or a GoPro, they have it on there. You could set it up like that. Once again, you can have it set high if you have, they make computer mounts for it or tablet mounts or anything like that. Basically, this is now 100% ready to go for me to mount the radios on there. So what I want you to do is I want you to stay tuned for the series. We still have more upcoming parts in there. We're going to be talking about wiring. We're going to be talking about mounting the equipment next and running the wiring through and things to consider, you know, for airbags here and over there. So, you don't mount your stuff and then things turn into a claymore. So thank you very much for going ahead and watching the series. Once again, we did the antennas today. We did this mounting solution. Next, we're going to be working on actually physically mounted radios, running that power, doing those power considerations. Those are going to be coming up in the next couple weeks. Until then, everybody, from myself at Communications and Cigars, thank you to everybody that watched. Thank you to everybody that subscribed. If you want to be aware of when we have upcoming episodes, make sure you hit the subscribe button on there. Otherwise than that, stay safe. If you have a cigar, sit back and enjoy it because the weather's nice at this time of the year. Until then, everyone.